Stream's up. Uh-oh, guess we haven't done this in a while.
What's
Boy. I wonder who's gonna show up. It's been some time.
I don't know.
It's been 10 seconds already. You know how much I like to say 10 seconds.
That's your favorite thing to say?
It's one of my favorite things to say. That, and I'd like to win the lottery.
Well, there's that too.
I would like to win the lottery. That'd be awesome.
The lotto.
Right? Lottery. Come on. Lottery.
Of course. Of course.
It's like being Harris
call
Heller.
Up your accountant, get it all sorted.
That'd be great, right?
What's that?
I said that would be great. Hey, guess what?
Yeah.
It's special thanks to Harris Heller for the music, by the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Harris.
Always thanks to Harris.
It is.
I didn't.
You know what?
I didn't tag it in the thing. Hold on.
I'm gonna call 10 seconds again because I can.
I was gonna say, where's your favorite?
Yep.
Your favorite
Coming
thing?
up, my favorite thing is now gonna be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, welcome. Not Your Average Show. How you guys doing? After a long hiatus for well, I'll basically just come out and say it. I got a family member that's going through some stuff, so had to take some time off and deal. That's just the way it goes sometimes in the world, and that's rip. Sorry, that's the way it went. I had every intention of joining in last week. Didn't happen. Just other stuff took precedence. But we are back. Welcome back, Corey. How are you?
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm just tired. I was telling you earlier before the show, I'm helping out somebody we know build a solar farm on the ground, a ground-based solar array. And it's really hot, and I'm just tired. But it's good. It's good.
It is that time of year down here where it gets hot. And it gets really, really, really hot. So, yeah, you've been working out in the hot sun. I've been on airplanes, traveling to faraway places and doing things. And that was a lot of fun. In the process, I got myself some air tags. Hey, those are kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
I had fun with those. Cool. I put one on my my camera bag and flew around and then tested it out. And it was pretty cool. So it works. They work really well. Might do a video on those. There's been a lot of news, though. I mean, all right. So I guess we could just maybe surprise. Guess what I'm going to make us do? I'm going to do a surprise. Didn't even talk about this before we went live. A lot of stuff happened in space. We missed 2 launches. So that's number one. That just happens, which normally would have been out there for those 2 launches, but we couldn't. SLS got its way from the Mississippi River all the way to here in Florida for its next round of tests.
Yes.
That's pretty
huge news too.
Yeah, that's big news. So that's coming. Elon Musk is already taking backlash for joining up with the cast for SNL this week. So I guess apparently Lauren Michaels said if there's any cast members that don't want to be on the show with him, they don't have to. Odd, but hey, he seems like a pretty harmless guy.
Who knows?
Huh?
Who knows? Yeah, I don't know.
Don't know. And then I guess to really, really punch this home about where we're at in space and everything else in this past week is what just took place about an hour and a half ago. Which,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
You want to do it?
Well, no, I mean, let's talk about it because here I'm just going to roll. I'm going to roll the audio and roll the video on the back of this in the background because basically the greatest thing that you could possibly imagine for SpaceX and company is Starship SN15. He did it. They did it.
Yep. It landed. Yeah, exactly.
It did exactly what it was supposed to do by design. And hats off to the entire team at SpaceX because this is phenomenal for them, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So just recapping over there, Boca Chica, if you guys are unaware, it's Boca Chica, Texas. That's where the Starship base, or Elon's Star base, they're calling it. That's where they're developing the Starship platform over there. That's the video we got rolling there. That's the launch today. That is 6:24 p.m. Eastern time. SN15, the 15th serial number of the test vehicle, took off. Went to 10 kilometers. There's 3 engines on board. The engines shut down on schedule. It hovered up there for a little bit, belly flopped down, just nominal, right?
Yeah.
And then when it comes down, if you're not aware, it comes down using these quite large fins.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's how
belly flop maneuver.
Back. Yeah, and then it ignites one of the engines, or 2 actually, and then flips back upright, and then lands like the Falcon 9s.
Yeah, and look, the other thing was that we touched on it about 2 weeks ago that obviously Jeff Bezos and Blue Origin are questioning how SpaceX got the new, basically their contract for the for the lunar landing part of the missions of going back to the moon. Sorry, just to lower.
Did you see that? Did you see that NASA said they have to, since it's been formally disputed, they have to tell SpaceX to pause all the progress they had on that, and as they assess the dispute.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, you know what? It I guess at that level, does it really matter? Because I don't see Blue Origin being able to get. Look, Blue Origin obviously has their airships that are doing this at some level, but Musk is already doing it with reusable rockets, bar none, and now he's doing it with what's going to be a larger launch vehicle across the lines, right? So, I mean, do they really have an argument there? I don't know, but this is phenomenal for the entire team.
And now to throw just one extra thing in there, because you reminded me, you said Blue Origin. Just today, I think it was today, I just got an email from Blue Origin that said they are they outlined their bid process for one of the seats and the July New Shepard launch for Blue Origin, which will go to space. So they're gonna bid. It'll be a bidding process, a closed bid, then an open bid, and then a live bid.
Right.
For one seat in July launch of the New Shepard in July, yeah, and it'll go up for a few minutes, and so you pass the Kármán line, you'll be an astronaut. And then you come back down. Of course, it's one seat. It's gonna be super freaking expensive.
I'm sure.
But hey, there you go. Commercial space is there's another thing. Commercial space. So there you go.
But I mean, here, look. I mean, we're just waiting on the rocket to actually blast off. I actually had the video keyed up way too early for this.
Yeah, you might move. Forward.
I'm gonna move it forward a minute here because we'll just go right to the point where it take off.
I think it takes off at.
Yeah, I had 6 minutes queued in there, right? So look, like I mean, let's face it. Elon Musk has got a new vision for travel, and this is it. This is Starship. And in case you've hidden under a rock in the space community recently, he has got this formula with vertical rocket takeoffs and landings. He's doing good business at it, right? I don't think there's anybody right now that's even challenging the levels and size and the capability in this area. So, is there really a competition? I have to ask, right? And I'm not doing it facetiously. You just have to ask: is there really a competition at this point? Because it would just seem that where others are starting to just get their feet under them for vertical takeoff and landing in the rocket industry, he's perfecting bigger, better technology. And he's poised on changing the entirety of transportation, not just space.
Yeah. I mean, just imagine, as Mike and I are talking about this, imagine if space travel was engineered to such a way that it's just not as expensive as it is now. Because mainly, let's be serious, like the main thing that keeps space travel is cost prohibitive, right? Yeah. It's so expensive to launch stuff. And in the past, launch stuff and then just lose it, right?
Sure.
So it's just so cost prohibitive to put anything in orbit. That's the main thing. But if you can, and as Elon's doing here, you can launch stuff that lasts upwards of 9 launches minimum, right? Because the Falcon 9 that landed yesterday,
yeah,
it took off from here and landed and successfully landed. I think that it was its 9th landing successful, so it's made 9 flights. And that as Mike's shown the video, it's the same thing with the Starship. Starship's supposed to be reusable. I mean, it's heavy lift. It's a large vehicle. And keep in mind, as we're watching this video, this is only one stage of this.
Oh yeah, this thing's gonna be a.
This thing has multiple stages that weren't being tested. Well, not flown yet. They're being built. But this is it's just amazing.
Well, I want to touch on something that you just said though, right? In reusability of aircraft, and the formula is. In aviation currently, right? A 747 has a lifetime of ultimately almost 25, 30 years, right? Some aircraft can go on after they get overhauled, after they engines time out, after the life limited parts get replaced on time, after ongoing rolling inspections and so forth, and everything that mandates by the FAA is taking place. Those aircraft go on for healthy lifetimes, right? Even the space shuttle in its program, it was actually most of those airframes had 60 more cycles left on the airframes before they were retired. Okay.
Yeah, there was more. Yeah.
There was more left in that aircraft. And you could say the same thing for SpaceX here, because what they're building and their repeatability and their performances, this isn't even what I would consider the final format of what you're going to see in the next 10 to 15 years. Because as they make them more and more reusable and parts more interchangeable, I could easily see this going the same way as saying you could have, say, a base that could go 1,000 launches, maybe. And if you get into that area,
Maybe.
right?
I mean,
That could be for
yeah, I wonder how many they're thinking for their ultimate airframes. I mean, um, I mean, all the things that he's outlined for this, they go past just launching things to orbit. You know,
sure.
if you know much about the history or the plan for Starship, you know that they're supposed to be used for also just transport, low Earth orbit transport from one city in America to like Japan.
Yeah,
I mean, literally, you get on the Starship, 20 of you or whatever it is, and boom, and you take off, and in 30 minutes you're in Japan. I mean, you know, that's literally the plan. So
That's
uh,
going to be
crazy.
well, so I guess that we're looking at, is it evolutionary or revolutionary? Because obviously the technology exists right now where we have been putting things into space that can be able to do those types of transports, but this is the first time it might be available in a sense of commerciality, right? Or a commercial market. So I guess this would be revolutionary, because look, this landing, and this is the big part. This means that if this becomes the regular way of doing business for him, that's proof of concept. But you didn't prove concept in some simulator somewhere. You proved concept in real world, right?
Yeah,
Massive.
that's another thing too. That's funny about, because they do this rapid prototyping is one thing that they're doing with these starships, where they could do a lot of stuff on the computer, which I'm sure they do testing, a lot of computer testing, but they choose to also just iterate in physical form quickly, you know. And I think usually what this is 15, they've got like what the next 3 built or something crazy like
Something
that.
like that.
You know, so and I know we're still watching this video, but it's super cool. I
Well,
mean, I think it's also pretty cool just because they have a cloud layer, and they launched. You know, you see it as it launches up to the cloud layer, disappears, and then you see it come back down through and just belly flops and
it's like, hey, I'm
uprights.
here. This is what I'm gonna
Like,
do.
hey,
Well, I mean,
hey,
look, but that ultimately, it again, in proof of concept, right? It means that they don't need pristine conditions to do this either, right? They're
mhm.
showing a lot more of their hand and saying, hey, we all know, look, in aviation, a 747 and A320, you know, most aircraft don't need to have visual reference to the ground in order to land, right? That's true. And some aircraft, you know, even have very complex auto land systems if they're optioned out for that, which is also very true. Not every single one
Yeah,
of them does, right? A lot of that is manual pilot ability with a little bit of autopilot mixed in just before the aircraft touches down, especially some things that are older in the fleet. However, right? He's proving, I don't care. He's like, so the conditions aren't ideal. We're going for it, right?
yeah, there it is.
There it is,
There it
and we're
is.
just going to continue to do what we're doing. And here it
Flips
comes.
upright. Yep. 2 engines ignite, flips over, goes upright in, you
Gosh,
know, a second or two, and
look at this thing.
boom, lands it. Like
Now I will say this:
overnight.
if you noticed, it didn't hit the center of the pad. It was off to the very very corner of the pad. And
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
some would say, "Oh my God, you know, look, it is to the very very edge of the pad," which is true. It looks like that it didn't get like dead center, but there it is, not crippled.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep. As far as we know, it didn't blow up. I mean, I did watch this feed from SpaceX till it ended, and then actually I flipped to another cam, another guy. If you know, there's some other camera feeds that are live out there at Boca Chica, and it still was in one piece when I watched that after a few minutes, and I left. So, you know, you are a bit curious on the fire emanating from the bottom there. We're not sure
right.
what's on fire. Um, we're not sure how much fuel's still on board, so you know, okay, but yeah, I mean, there you go. It's still, regardless, it's landed, um, and upright. It's standing there. So
So
yeah,
I guess here's the thing. I know we get a lot of watchers that don't watch these with us during the live stream, but they do watch later on. And you know, look, we're not breaking any ground with this video. We're just more or less sharing an intellectual conversation on what the future of this holds in the SpaceX world of Starship. This is
hmm
awesome. This is huge. If you're big into space, if you're big into science, outside of the space shuttle, this could be one of the biggest. You know, look, we've routinely put men into space over the last 30 years. we did have a break of them going up on U.S. made material and so on and so forth. But however,
went up on Soyuz for a long time.
Yeah. So, but however, outside of that, and all the other groundbreaking things that look when and I don't know about you, but when I heard SpaceX rocket vertical reuse rocket, I was like, why are we taking steps back when we had the space shuttle? That's honestly what I thought. And I didn't have the ingenuity or the ability to forethink someone like Elon Musk and how they would do it and how successful it would be. But today, this is a celebration day for the SpaceX crew, and congratulations and hats off to them, because for Elon and company, they deserve every bit of the accolades. They deserve every bit of the credit. They have pushed that envelope, and success to them is well deserved, I say.
Yeah, and remember, some form, we're not sure, some form of this is this technology is set to, well, if it goes through, is set to be what lands the next human U.S. astronauts on the moon.
Yeah.
Right, the Starship, some version of this technology. So it's cool. It's exciting.
It is big.
We could talk about this all day, I'm sure.
It's big stuff, but they did it. They did it, and congratulations. So hey, and folks, if you got something else to say on this one, let us know, because it's not like we said anything new in this conversation. We know that, okay, obviously, but it's good to see that space is on the forefront of this type of development, and it makes you a little excited for. I'm excited for now. I can envision 6-7 years from now standing on the banks of the Indian River watching this bad boy go up into space, and being truly and absolutely excited for it, because having known all the steps, because Corey look, Corey has been hot on SLS before I was, so he's the one that really brought all that to my attention about how SLS was being developed, and what that the shuttle engines were being reused, and all that other good stuff. But the combination of what's going to happen when you take SpaceX technology, like you said, to go to the moon is going to be phenomenal. Can't wait.
Yep.
Also, there's
and just the last thing from me on this subject too is, just as Mike mentioned a bit on the SLS, right? Remember, guys, the SLS, the rocket has arrived in Kennedy. It's Cape Canaveral.
Yeah.
So you can bet whenever they do tests and launches, we'll be there.
That will be awesome. Can't wait. So anyhow, we'll wrap that one up. Remember, folks, like, subscribe, follow, and we do. And look, here's another thing that we have to say. By the graces of whatever's going on in the YouTube algorithm world, we have steadily picked up subscribers this past 2-week period, even though we were away from the desk for a little bit. We have picked up watch time. We're garnering more of a following every day, which we couldn't say more. Just fantastic. So thanks, everybody. It's a pleasant surprise that this is something that's catching on with people that they want to talk about. So good. All right. Guess what I forgot? Where the heck are we going?
I think we're going through your solid-state batteries.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me take the floor.
Take it away.
I'll take the floor. All right. So here's the deal. This one's coming to you via Auto Week. And Corey and I have shared a couple of conversations already on solid-state batteries and what could be coming on the horizon. And this one's from May 3rd, although it's a couple of days late. Here's the thing. They're pretty pegged on the fact that solid-state batteries could be coming sooner than we think, because two unlikely partners of all the brands and labels out there in the automotive manufacturing universe, Ford and BMW, partnered to be on board with a company called Solid Power. And Solid Power is saying that they have already got some level of solid electrolyte batteries, aka solid state, that is pretty much ready to go. And it could be, with the amount of injection of money from the Ford Motor Company and BMW, they're saying that they could receive 100 amp cells for testing and integration into future products. And they're saying that this could be into integration into their process by 2022. Okay. Now that leaves a lot of room there for a couple other things, because Ford is saying right now that they would like to offer an all-electric lineup in Europe by 2030, and BMW is complaining not complaining, but they're saying they can get 50% of its global fleet to be electric by 2030. Okay.
Yep.
Now, Corey, you and I talk about EVs all the time, and if this carries out to be true, that solid state suddenly breaks through, we were looking at possibly VW being the one that was going to make this breakthrough first, because it seems like they embraced almost the Tesla model from what they were looking forward to, obviously. But now here's Ford and BMW, and I'm just going to stake this before I turn it over to you, is that, and we also know that the F-150 is the best-selling vehicle in America, and if that thing ever went electric, you'd be looking at magnifying the electric fleets in this country, tenfold. So what's your thoughts on that one, man?
Yeah, so just kind of like you said, I mean, we'd been tracking other people that were doing solid state stuff. One of which was VW, and they have the new factory. They had that partnership we mentioned with, I think it was QuantumScape, right? And they're still that's we assume that's still going on. But yeah, for Ford and now as it would be Ford and BMW to release this basically on the 3rd, just a few days ago. This is pretty big. Um, because as always, as we say, Ford has got a lot of, at least in America, the F-150, as you mentioned, is the best selling
It is.
line.
Yeah.
The F series is the best selling line. The F-150, of course, is in there. They've already mentioned they're going to make an electric version of the truck. One thing I had mentioned before, since I'm an EV owner, I know, they talk about going from your petrol vehicle to an electric vehicle. Just how until you've done it and driven one for a while, you may have that a bit apprehensive about, okay, how far can I get? Where am I going to charge? Like, what can I actually do with this thing?
Right.
And if they engineer the motors in such a way that you can get good range out of the F-150 F series, and then also have the torque when you need it to pull stuff. And while I actually, as I'm talking about that, I just kind of remember realizing as well that that's always been a little bit of a downside of the trucks, the electric trucks. And I'm thinking mainly the Tesla semis,
Right.
because they have really good torque. Electric engines can make really good torque, but that really sucks down on the range when you start making high torque numbers to pull something. And that was one of the things with the Tesla semis, why they just put massive batteries in those things. And those are still in production, still coming as well. But I mean, so we don't have solid numbers on those either. But that'll be, so from my standpoint, I'm excited certainly to see this thing from BMW and Ford.
Sure.
But I would be interested to see how the performance numbers pan out when we talk about actually pulling something over a distance, and likewise with that, the charging, right?
Well, and two things though.
Ford in America gonna get on the charging, get in on the EV thing.
Sure.
It's like hand in hand. We talk about battery or electric airplanes, electric cars, EVs, anything is okay. The batteries can be all great, perfectly engineered.
Sure.
Where are you gonna charge this thing?
Sure.
So that people can actually use it. And so I'm just interested to see what Ford's long-term game plan is for that.
So here's the two things that came to mind where you were talking. Number one, Ford does have a 10-speed transmission. And, in the application of transmissions and batteries, which people haven't done widely yet because it hasn't been necessary, but it could be done, and it could be done also for the semi from Tesla. But what I brought up on screen while you were talking, right? One quick thing here, right? And you could set me correct if I need to be corrected on that. But here's the thing. This is a 100 amp hour battery current in its present state, that what we know of in a 12, 24, 48 volt brand product, right? And this is $174, and this is a big battery. Right. So look, I could also see that Ford could also have a partnership on the backside, that if these 100 amp hour batteries do make their way into the Ford cars like the Mach-E or something else, and it reduces their weight substantially, it also is going to be used to possibly sell off to these aviation units that are probably salivating more over solid state batteries to use in their air taxis. Right. But go ahead and address the transmission one, because I could be wrong about the Tesla one, but I don't know if they were using transmissions, but Ford already does have a battery of they do have a large bank of transmissions at their disposal, right?
Yeah, the only thing that came to mind when you're talking about that, as far as having variable drive transmissions for EVs, because that's something we just haven't seen a lot of builders do yet.
Right.
Was you reminded me of when we talked about the Porsche Taycan. I just looked it up. The Porsche Taycan EV has that 2-speed transmission.
It does.
So Porsche has already kind of put their feet in the water with that. So there is, not that there wasn't going to be thought on that anyway from engineers somewhere, but there is a bit of precedence to having a variable transmission or multiple speed transmission on an EV motors, electric motors. So that could be something, that could be a solution with the trucks. If you're going to haul something, boom, you get the whatever gear they decide for that. And then if you're just on the highway, just going somewhere, cruising with no load, you're in the other gear. Or maybe there's 3 gears. I don't know. Who knows what,
Right.
So,
ooh. There was something else that I wanted to say, but I'll say it after this section's over, because it just popped up through my head. But that's all I really had to contribute on this one. I just thought it was very interesting that Ford and BMW suddenly dumped enough money into a company that says that they're really, really close to this, and they have board members on. And I think the total investment What did they say? Was it like 6 billion?
I'm looking for that. I
I
don't see
kind of
that.
remember that I saw a number, but I didn't want to float something out there that was what I could see. But anyhow, maybe we'll get a full number someplace. But I thought I saw a number there. But that's all I got on this one.
Anywhere.
So
yeah, no, same. I mean, this is kind of the initial release of the the announcement, right? So we don't have much more than this. It's just 2 days old. So we'll keep on it, guys, and we'll let you know.
We'll let you know.
Yeah.
Hey, remember, like, subscribe, and follow. And what I was gonna say is one of the things that just popped into my head is well, actually, just one of those things that Bobby Unser passed away. He
really?
passed away yesterday.
I didn't know that.
I believe it was.
Okay.
So Bobby Unser, Al Unser Jr.'s father, 3-time Indianapolis 500 winner, big in the racing community, probably raced against Mario Andretti one too many times, although they had some pretty famous run-ins to each other. They were also great friends. But
I did not know that.
Yeah, he passed away. So it was just something that popped into my head, just that I remembered. So there you go. Hey. Ooh. Wow. This is interesting. Oh, wait. Team Penske and Porsche joined forces for IMSA WC Le Mans beginning in 2023. This literally just flashed up on my screen. I crap you not. I'm sorry to pull this on you, man. But wait a second. You got to see this. If you're watching the stream, damn, we're going to be talking about this one because that just threw me for a complete and total loop. This is on Auto Week. And if this is correct, we'll see these guys at the Rolex. That's what should happen, which would include a run at the 24 Hours Le Mans and hopefully a Porsche Penske team running at the Rolex. That'll be cool. Because if they're
going to run LMDH,
which is what that's the new IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship.
Yeah, it's the new class.
That's the new class that's going to be able to compete at both Daytona and at the Le Mans.
There'll be Acuras, Toyotas, Peugeot, Porsche, and Audi in that.
Yeah, buddy. All right, well, look, we're gonna have to talk about that one later. Shoot.
Yeah, I haven't read this at all. So
no, neither. I'm sorry. My bad. All right, we can cut that out anyhow. So, hey, where you want to go?
Okay.
The Disney?
I guess we're gonna
do
some Disney stuff. Yeah, okay. Real quick. Yeah,
you got it. The floor. Yeah. Let me just pull this one up here. You want me to you want to play the video first or no?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I could do that while I'll just talk about it. It's a short video. So we were just, I think a while back, you guys, we mentioned to you something. We found a patent, some patents for Disney lightsaber, some patent drawings. This is apparently the what's happened with that. It's a real lightsaber. I put it in quotes because you're not cutting anything with it, right? But it's a real lightsaber in the sense that you hold the hilt. It looks like she holds a hilt. She presses a button, and then the blade extends out of the hilt, and it's illuminated just like it would be a lightsaber. The easiest way I think can explain this, like what we did when we explained the patents, is if you guys have used a tape measure to measure anything. The tape measure has a curve, but it's a metal band, but it has a curve. But it's curved in such a way that when it goes into its receptacle, when you reel it back in, it rolls up. Right. It goes flat and rolls up in there in a roll. But when you pull it out, it has a bit of a bend, and then it keeps its form a bit, and it's a little more rigid. Imagine that, but some type of, I think they mentioned it, some type of plastic that has some light can pass through it, and it's the same kind of idea. Right. So they probably have a bit more curve to them, and when they come out, there's two, so they come out together, and they probably like sheath into each other. And they have a blade, a tip on the end, like a dome. Right. And then they shoot light up the middle of the blade. So it's pretty cool.
Something like what's on screen right now.
Star Wars and you're into that kind of stuff. It looks like a pretty cool. I don't know how well you'll be swinging it around, hitting stuff with it. Probably won't go too well for that. But the other thing that I wanted to tap on the end of the story was, since it was May the 4th yesterday, there was this news came out yesterday from Disney, but then also another thing came out, an update to their Disney Star Wars themed hotel that's in Orlando as well. And if you guys aren't aware of what that's all about, it's going to be quite exclusive, but it's at the Disney here in Orlando, and basically it's going to be like what they call it, a Star Cruiser. It's gonna it's like role playing, live action role playing for like 2-3 days. So you check into the hotel, but when you check in, they pretend that you're like getting on a taxi airplane or like a Star Cruiser taxi that takes you to this like cruise ship in the sky in the Star Wars universe.
Right.
And then everybody in there is role playing some crew member. It's all, you know, like basically immersed in the Star Wars universe. So I wanted to bring that up because obviously we just had May the 4th, or the 4th of May. And anybody out there that's in the Star Wars, there's some cool lightsaber news, but also this hotel you should definitely check out.
Yeah.
I will certainly tell you, while I don't know the price, it's probably going to be quite expensive.
Yeah, you could
and
imagine.
quite exclusive in the sense that I think I saw somewhere there's like 50 rooms in the hotel.
Oh, wow.
So the stays are 2 nights. So 3 day, 2 night. So that being the case, it's going to be pretty hard to get into. All estimates point to it being like a Disney cruise package for a week, something like that price tag.
Wow.
But hey, I mean, things I've heard about this, if you guys haven't heard anything about it, I've heard you check in, and then when you check in, you like get to kind of choose what like story you want to play. Like maybe you're a bounty hunter, maybe you just somebody who works on the ship, and depending on what you choose, the actors in the hotel interact with you in that way. So maybe if you pick the bounty hunter example, like maybe after dinner one night, somebody comes to your room and says, "Hey, I know you're looking for what's his face. He's down at the bar right now.
Yeah, you got to go down.
You know, something like that. Right?
Who shot first?
It's cool. So anyway, there you go. So
it'd be funny. It'd be like literally you go down to the canteen, but actually no, you're on a galactic Star Cruiser. So I would imagine the way this is going to play out for them is going to be a huge boon for the average not the average, but the big Star Wars fans are going to love this. And good for, yeah. And you know what? It's one of those things that I'd be like, might be worth the 2-day thing, right? It might be worth it.
Yeah. The wife and I, we've also been like, man, looks cool.
This looks cool.
We want to know obviously how much it's going to cost, but yeah, it's something to keep an eyeball on for sure.
Maybe it's something that we should look at doing for the show. Maybe that would be kind of cool, right? That'd be neat.
I was thinking about this, not in the terms of our show, but thinking in terms of just like cell phones. Like when you go in there, can you even use your cell phone?
Don't know.
Maybe because
they don't want you to ruin the experience.
I mean, how does that work? I mean, because when you go in, there's other things, right? You don't take out your wallet and pay at the bar. It's all
inclusive.
You pay with like whatever the currency is,
right?
Because you're all in the world. It's totally immersed in the world. So I don't know how cameras work in there at all.
Well, number one, number two is, are you going to be able to leave? Like, if you go in, like, are you going to be able to say like, hey, we're going to go out to dinner, like it's some other restaurant on Disney property? Or are you just encapsulated in the experience and they're going to say, look, in order to make it the best experience, we suggest that you don't leave. And then
or they're like, hey, you're on a Star Cruiser, where are you gonna go?
Yeah, like, and
you're in space, where are you gonna go?
And do they simulate? Now here's the other thing, right? If you're in your room or if you're in a common area, and if you're saying, like, let's say on average 3 guests per room, right? So you're gonna have 150 people on this experience, and then they're gonna have to do some sort of simulated disembarkation, right? Like some sort of celebratory.
Yeah, all the windows I think are all screens,
right?
So everything looks like you're on this cruiser. I mean, and there's like excursions. If you've ever been on a cruise, there's like excursions.
Right.
So one of the excursions is going to the Disney part of the park,
right,
where the Millennium Falcon is and the ride, because that's on Earth or what's the planet called? Anyway, but it's an excursion, So they're cool. It's cool, but I don't know, man. That's a good thing I hadn't thought of. Yeah, if you want to go eat with. If you're in town from somewhere and you're like, oh, I know people that live in Orlando.
Right.
We're going to go to dinner with them. They're like, what do you mean? We're not in Orlando.
You're not in Orlando. You're on your way to the Forest Moon of Endor. So just prepare.
Yeah. I don't know.
Hey, that'd be cool. I don't know. It could be real interesting. But hey, the other nice thing is we're close by, so we could possibly check that out, and we wouldn't have to pay airfare or do very much except just drive there and spend the 2 days, which would make it almost much cheaper for us in that example. For other people that would have to pay additional fees to get back and forth, we could just literally drive up and be like, all right, I'm checking in. So
it's really cool. I'm interested to try to find some pictures and more about it. So, but it's not built yet. Supposedly 2022. That's when the first experience launches. So we'll keep the guys up to date whenever we know more.
Cool.
But yeah,
awesome, excellent. So hey, if you got a chance, like, subscribe, follow, and see if we can keep you guys up to date on more information on that from Disney with the lightsabers and the whole thing. So I'm going to go into my last one here, which is
Do it.
All right. This one actually requires a little bit more of a setup than I thought about, right? And the only reason why it requires that setup is because in the terms of electric vehicles, and if you're like me, your very first electric vehicle that you ever owned was in 1/10 scale, and it was from Tamiya. Because mine was a Frog. It was an RC car. And that was my first experience with milliamp batteries, electric power, gearing, servos, remote control. However, the little car company, under license from Tamiya, has now brought back the Wild One Max, which is on pre-order currently, and we're not talking about an RC car. We're talking about an actual car based on the Wild One, which was a model made by Tamiya back in the early 1980s, about 1985, 1984. And it was a fairly wildly, popular selling model for them. And they have gone out and they built this thing, and it's electric. Got a top speed of about 30 miles an hour. It looks like it's got some quality off-roading pedigree here. It's got 15-inch tires, hydraulic Brembo disc brakes with regenerative braking, an adjustable driving seat, racing steering, and digital gauges. And the thing looks really cool on almost a 1-to-1. And it looks like right now they're expected to start at about 6,000 pounds, conversion rate aside, and they're looking for you to just drop 100 pounds on it. Now, the thing for me, right? Here's one thing that I'm thinking of, and just right off the top of my head, which A, it would be really cool to have one of these. B, if you're in the side-by-side universe and you're, a big fan of Tamiya, suddenly you've got this to look forward to because you have maybe a quality off-roader to go in the electric, arena with, so on and so forth. It looks authentic. It's got the license. Are we going to see it? I mean, is it going to legitimately make it? Because I'd be like, shut up and take my money, but it's not everybody's thing, and I get
sure
that.
hope so.
Right?
I sure hope so. And as Mike was showing this to me, I immediately went to YouTube to try to find videos of this car somewhere, right? Maybe the company that makes it has videos of making it or something, testing it, something, right? Something you can actually see. And I can't find anything on this thing. So to answer your question, I don't know, man. I mean, it just depends. I don't know. I don't know. I've never heard of the little car company.
Neither have I.
Before.
Nope.
It appears they're out of.
Well, let's guess what. I just went on the little car company's product website here, and oh boy, they've
got some cool stuff in here.
They do. They have an Aston Martin DB5 Junior. They have
a baby Bugatti, an old style Bugatti.
Okay, so here we go. Guess what? Now I can say that, yes, this is probably going to be legit, and these are going to be boutique, and they will be. So let's take a look at About Us, because it's just an interesting thing.
Yeah, I'm here now.
In building exceptional junior cars that partnership with the most elite car manufacturers. Oh boy!
Expert hand built in the UK.
They've got the pedigree.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it looks like it's formerly a World War II RAF base. So they're out of an airfield somewhere.
That's very cool. It looks like this.
Yeah, I'm interested. Yeah, for sure.
A junior. I mean, basically, Aston Martin is wow. Okay.
It's very cool.
Wait a sec, dude. Look at this. Holy.
Which one?
Are you? This is legit. You have to click on the Junior DB5, and they've got a video that plays automatically, and this is legit.
They got the baby Bugatti is also pretty cool.
Damn! All right, I'm officially excited now. So that's cool. That's really cool. Hey, it's just one of those things I wanted to point out to you guys. Tell us what you think. I mean, is it something that you would be interested in purchasing? Because it looks like these guys are definitely going to pull this one off. So, and in the annals of electric cars, obviously, sure, toy cars that have been out there in, your drivable market for kids in the driveway for the last 30 years, it's been around. But this looks like it's made a little bit more for adults, and it could be a lot more exciting.
Yeah, this DB5 Vantage is 45,000 pounds in price.
Ooh, that's
which is
steep.
Pretty steep.
I mean,
it's it's a baby DB5, which is super cool.
That is cool.
Working gauges, all analog. It looks like everything works. It's super cool, but wow,
That's some cake. That's some
it's pretty
real
steep.
cake.
Yeah, it's pretty steep. But I mean, hey, there you go. If you guys are in chat and you've seen this, maybe didn't know this was a thing before, or maybe you're interested in it, let us know.
Let us know. Like, subscribe, follow, and we'd be interested in hearing about what you guys would want. And now I guess there's which flavor would you like? Would you like the DB or would you like the other models here that they could get you? So
I'm interested in that DB5. Not gonna lie, it's
pretty sharp.
style.
It's pretty sharp.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey, and that's we got one more subject for you to touch on tonight, and after that we're gonna call it quits. So, Mr. Corey, if you want to take it away, because Northrop has been up to nailing some other stuff here.
Yeah, so this article is a little bit older, but I did wanted to bring it up just kind of to show you a little bit how other things can go on in space other than just sending satellites up and the satellites decay in orbit and fall down, and that's how it goes.
Yeah.
But so this is an article from a little bit ago, but again, it's basically says Northrop Grumman's launched a robot that successfully actually docked to a satellite and then works to extend its life. So, basically on Monday, the 12th of April, Grumman announced that the satellite service mission called Mission Extension Vehicle 2, so the MEV2, successfully docked with the Intellisat, a satellite from Intellisat, in the sense that it can do repair, it can do other things to it. So it's a satellite, or it's a robot in orbit actually that can basically extend the life of other things in orbit that they contract with. And this thing launched back in August 2020 on an Ariane 5, so over in Europe. And they've got some pictures of it here. Of course, you can take a look at them. I think they're infrared pictures, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
So it's just cool because they talk about how it can repair stuff. If there's been other repairs that have been done in orbit. Usually humans go up and have to like retrofit something. So apparently this robot can do other things. It can help augment whatever the mission of the original satellite was, or fix some things if that's worked out to be able to be fixed. It's just kind of interesting because now there's been other satellites in orbit that, if we go into some of the military side, right, there's been satellites that are meant to go attack other foreign state satellites in orbit and then deorbit them or sabotage them. But and this is an interesting use of commercial satellites where they can use to repair and extend the initial life or mission of whatever satellite this might be up there. So it's pretty cool. Something I hadn't heard of until I came across this article.
I'm interested in one other thing.
So yeah,
could it deorbit space junk? Because one thing that would be really interesting is if you have an unserviceable and a rogue satellite at this point that has reached its critical lifetime, right? It's not going to have efficiencies to change orbits or to deorbit itself at this point, and you don't want to destruct it up there in space because it's a hazard. It sounds like to me this would be one of the perfect things that, if even in a non-threatening way, if you just had literally something you wanted to bring out of the sky because it's just aged, right? Let's face it, we're coming up at the point now that some satellites that went up in the 80s and even some in the 90s might have reached their useful life cycle, and maybe it's time to use something to get them out of the sky, right?
Yeah, no, actually, in the same article, you said that, and just down there, I wanted to point out that it says in 2025, Grumman says that they'll begin working with being able to refuel satellites in orbit, but also removing orbital debris and anything. If there's something up there that's something that's high value in the sense that it's still functioning, or they don't want debris nearby, whatever this other thing is, they have the ability, or they're going to work on having the ability to deorbit that junk or clean up that space junk there. Right. So yeah, exactly, yeah.
So there was a interesting movie that I wonder. I just want to do close this one out because there's something I want to go off on a wild tangent.
Sure. Yeah, sure. So again, this one here just about the Grumman, how they've got robot that can work on repairing, refueling satellites in orbit, and I thought it was kind of a cool find. So if you like stuff like that with space, please like, share, and subscribe. We very much appreciate it. It helps our channel grow, and we'll bring more stuff to you whether it's space or whatever, a whole bunch of stuff. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, so what really just popped into my head is I remember back in 1991 there was a movie that I watched. It was called Until the End of the World, and I just wanted to make sure that it was actually still available. And it's always been hard to find, but it was William Hurt, and it actually back in 1991 probably, and I'm going to say probably, had the best vision of our nowadays future than you could imagine. It's actually now it's probably a little dated in some of its representations of technology, but it's worth the view because basically it's about a professor that's working on some device that's actually going to help blind people see, but at the same time, there's a satellite in space that is nuclear powered that is about to deorbit. And what they're worried about is that it's going to cause basically an EMP across the globe and knock out some of the niceties in technology that people have been enjoying for the last 20 years. And the premise and the beauty of it is phenomenal. I saw it a long time ago. I've always tried to capture another version of it someplace to pick it up somewhere, and I think it's time that I'm going to finally take myself up on that and rewatch this movie because it really did go into this thing about how there's going to be all this space junk that it's really not going to treat the human race all that well in the not too distant future. Just one of those things.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah,
it's worth a look. If there's a movie out there that just seemed relevant when I was thinking about it, that was the one. So I wonder if there's places where I could find it. Don't tell me it's on YouTube now. That would be fun. I might have something to do tonight. Shopping. Wait. Till the End of the World movie. It's on DVD now at Target. What the heck? I got work to do. Target. Yes, that means I've literally got to go and get this movie. I did not know that. Oh, man. Is it in my local one? I might have to go find this and pick it up tonight. Anyhow, that's all I had. Sorry.
Yeah, no, me too. Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We're sorry for the long delay not getting new content out to you, but we're going to, I think we're coming back tomorrow night, right? So we should be back on tomorrow night, roughly about the same time. And we look forward to seeing you guys and talking to you again soon. And remember, like, subscribe, follow, and if you get a chance, throw in a comment below. Tell us what we hit, what we missed, and if there's anything else you guys want to talk about, because more than likely we'll be real happy to talk about it. So let us know.
Cool. Perfect.
Excellent. Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we will catch you soon from the Not Your Average Show. Take care and have a great night, guys.
Take it easy. See you then.
Peace. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Show 40 in the books. Thanks for tuning in, folks. We appreciate it very much.
Yeah. Yep. Take it easy.